Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allah fi kulli umri yasta'in. Allah fi kulli umri amjid. Muhammadun huwa Sayyidina Mahbubana wa inhu kana Rasulun Nabi. Innana lahafidun sunnatuhu wa shariatuhu. Salawatu Rabbi taslimatihi alayhi. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh lil ikwani wa ikwati fi Afrika wa Europa wa Amerika wa ikwa fi Amerika min Afriki Amerikiyin wa kathirin min الناس كل مكان. Halen وسهلا بكم. كيف حالكم مع Allah? Thank you, my dear brothers and sisters, for showing up today, and those who may show up and here, inshallah ta'ala, for another lesson on the issue of the Aqidah, but it's also have to do with fiqh as well. And the waha wa barbaha, it's a complex subject that takes quite a few courses in it, but I'm just going to break it down and bring it into modern times and to give you some basis on what this entails, because we see a attack on this wala wa bara. We see attack on it from Muslims and from non-Muslims. And there's a lot of misunderstanding even from Muslims about this issue. Assalamu alaikum, Mystic. Thank you for showing up. And this particular concept is one of the 7 conditions of your shahadatain when you become Muslim. There's 7 conditions that you must fulfill. And the 7th one is one of the most important, because this puts into action what Subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran, what our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam has also said in his hadiths about this particular issue. And that any violation of it basically takes you out of Islam. And because it's under attack, we have a lot of confusion, especially you see on YouTube. You see Muslims participating in a variety of different things, and you get confused. You say, well, I don't understand, how can Muslims do this or do that? And then I read the Quran and I see something that is contrary to what Subhanahu wa ta'ala said. Or you read a hadith and then it doesn't coincide with, you see the behavior of some Muslims, what they're doing. So this issue is quite taxing, and it's very important, and it's being violated and attacked to the point to where we even have Muslims who are attacking it and trying to convince other Muslims that to reverse this, and I'll get into this here, and reverse it to cause enmity against Muslims, but have allegiance to non-Muslims. And we see this, Salaam alaikum, my dear brother Isaac. And we see this more and more. And I've had my run-in with some of these who are, quote unquote, they call themselves modern Muslims. They say that they're Muslim, and they, they do the necessities to call themselves the Muslims. But one of the factors why I'm talking to you about this, so you can differentiate between these types of Muslims that Subhanahu wa ta'ala and our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam is angry with, and don't like. And I'll get into the hadith of Prophet sallallahu, what he said about these type of Muslims and what Subhanahu wa ta'ala has said. And so it's important that we understand what this concept, wallah wa barah, because Without it, you as a Muslim, you're in bad shape. You're almost out of the door of the fold of Islam, and it is really, in some ways, shameful. And those in the West, especially, are under attack because of this, and it's understandable because of the environment, especially the United States. I concentrate on, and we all know what's happening in the United States. It is dreadful. What's happening in the United States now, with all the killings, this, the rogue, I mean, we'll say two Bob cops gone rogue, because we're not going to say all the cops are bad, because that's not true. I knew many that they weren't this way. And I don't know what their heart was. I'm talking about two Bob, but they enforced the law. They didn't care if the person was white or black. So we'll call the two Bob cop who's rogue, because those are now we have another killing where, again, a policeman said he didn't, he did not know that this was a gun. He thought it was, I think what he said, he thought it was his radio. I don't know, whatever he said, or microphone, whatever he was saying. But anyway, he's using the excuse as well. So now we see a pattern. When they shoot the brother, they turn around and say, you know what? I thought it was my flashlight. I didn't know I thought it was a flashlight in my hand. Or I thought I had a McDonald's hamburger in my hand when I shot the guy. They now going to many excuses and everything. And it's really shameful. And we have to do something to alert our brothers and sisters in America, to get them to wake up. Because it is, now I see people getting on YouTube and telling African Americans to leave, to leave America, because it is too dangerous now. And any one of African Americans can come out and get shot. And we understand that many are being shot now without even without publicity, because they're not covering it all. And I'm going to tell you why I think that is. Because many feel that the African Americans are going to exact a 400-year revenge upon the Tuba. And they fear this. Many of them really fear this. And so they try to keep down as many of the killings as they can, because they are infuriating African Americans. And many Tuba, the population in America, the Tuba population, Tuba Americans, are frightened that the African Africans will begin to retaliate against them. And some are doing this, as I've been reading. I heard they shot a couple of cops here a couple of weeks ago. I heard they shot some other two known racists were shot. I mean, there's a lot of, it's terrible. But back at the subject at hand. Wallah wa bara. It's the seventh condition of the Shahadatain. What we know is the Prophet ﷺ in a hadith talks about like a rope. And you know how the ropes are, there's the knots of the rope. And he describes Islam in this way. And the knots are only as strong as each one. When one of the knots becomes shredded, the whole rope becomes weaker, right? This is how Islam is. So he said that this concept is that we love for the sake of Allah, and we hate for the sake of Allah. We have allies for the sake of Allah, and we have enemies for the sake of Allah. This is basically the concept, what we're talking about here. Now, many will say, well, Yahya, I live in California. I don't live around many Muslims. What about me? Does that make me a kafir? No, I'm not saying that. What we're saying is I lived in America 50 years. When I became Muslim, I had to go to work. I worked with disbelievers, and some of them were very cruel. And what we're saying here is that those who live in America, Europe, or Canada, or any other non-Muslim state, is you have to keep healthy relations with non-Muslims. You have to. Healthy relationships. I'm not talking about one-sided relationships. I'm talking about healthy relationships, respectful relationships with those who don't fight you. But those who fight you and fight, who fought subhanahu wa ta'ala or a prophet and make fun of them, you cannot have any relationship with them. So you have to try to maintain this balance. It's very difficult. But when you come to a Muslim country, you don't have that problem because you have a Muslim state, and everywhere you go, there's Muslim identity, culture. The adhan, you have the masjids, you have the foods. You don't worry about when you go to a restaurant like McDonald's or something like that, like you do in the States. You worry about if it's pork or something like that. Here, you don't have to worry about such a thing. You go to the restaurant, you know the food is halal. So, but America, those conditions are very difficult. So let's get into the topic at hand here. Wallah والبراء. It's a concept that, again, many Muslims don't understand. They think that this is something that they can play around with. You cannot, because in violation of this, it takes you out of the fold of Islam. It takes you out of the fold of Islam knowingly. Now, those who do not know, that's a different situation, but they should know by reading the Quran what subhanahu wa ta'ala said. And this is something that we have to be careful of, because we do have so many enemies, and we have to be very careful because the enemies plot. And we have Muslims, I understand that, even our families, we have many people who are non-Muslims in it, and they don't mean any harm in some ways, but they'll ask you to vacate some of your principles as a Muslim. This is what you have to avoid. You have to be very stern in your religion. You cannot let no one take you from your religion, regardless of who they are in the family. The influences from especially from the ones who fight Muslims, is very, very, very harsh, as we see around the world. We see them going, Western countries going to Muslim states, creating proxy wars, killing at will, causing dissension inside the Muslim states. We see all of this. And they come in and they use propaganda to tell the Muslims to have enmity. Now, see, here we go. This is where we switch. The wallah means the allegiance. Allegiance to what? To subhanahu wa ta'ala, to our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, to the ummah, a Muslim, to your brother, your sister in Islam. This is what we're talking about here. The first part of this, wallah, means the allegiance to, meaning to the ummah, to subhanahu wa ta'ala, to our Prophet alayhi salatu, and to other Muslims. This overshadows, overweighs, supersedes any relationship that you have with family or with any nation or any flag or any people. Your allegiance is to Muslims and up to the Muslim, and that's it. Your enmity, which is the baraha, is those who what are contrary to. This concept means that you have understood that you are Muslim, and that you are declaring your enmity to others, meaning other religions, meaning that you've taken Islam as your religion, that you've taken Tawheed as your belief, that you believe in subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you believe in his books, and you believe in the Prophet alayhi salatu salam, his sunnah and his sharia. This is what we're talking about here. The first part, wallah. This is the first part, that you believe in these things. Then the baraha here, this is where you have the enmity towards all others, not meaning to hurt, not meaning to kill, not meaning to discriminate, but to have a healthy division between you. The Prophet ﷺ said in the Hadith, there should be a campfire between, meaning the Muslims over here and the others here. This is important. This is not discrimination. This is the protection of your religion. Because as we know, as we see, all of us have faced this. We have friends who are non-Muslims, and some try to take you from your deen. When you come to the house, they'll say, oh, yeah, I know you always come, you want to pray. Well, can you stop that today? I don't want you to pray inside my house. This is the type of thing. And these are your friends. Or they say, look, we're going to go eat at this place over here, but they only serve pork. Can't you eat pork today? can't you just go ahead and eat this barbecue sandwich here? It's made out of pork. And then next day you can be Muslim again. Or you go somewhere with your friends, and then all of a sudden you hear the adhan, or you look at the clock, it's time to pray. Your friends tell you, look, we're out here today. We're not here practicing no religion. You came here as Yahya, you didn't come here as a Muslim. So when we go to this place here, you can't pray. This is what is happening with many Muslims today, and they break down. Once they see they got you one day, they begin to work on you the next day, and they start introducing more. And we have many Muslims have been taken out of the deen because of weakening. And as you remember last week, I talked about this with the steps of shaitan. This is this, because you got to remember something. Many of the people who you may think that are okay are following the steps of shaitan. Fornication, drinking, taking hashish, heroin, or any of those things. So they want to see you doing the same thing. They don't want to see you practicing your faith. You have to be very careful, and you have to be strong in it. You respect and love your family. You love them, your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers, your uncles, your nieces, and your nephews. You love them, but they do not take precedence over your religion. Don't. If you recall the history, there was a famous conversation that occurred between the new Muslims as the Prophet ﷺ came, and they were going to make pledge to him. They made a couple of statements talking about this, where one of the emirs of the Medina said that that this oath means that all of the Muslims are your brothers, and all non-Muslims are basically your enemy. And this is some part of the history. So this is again part of the Barah. It's the announcement of division that that you have between you and them. That's important. This doesn't mean discrimination. It doesn't mean that you hurt a non-Muslim. It doesn't mean that you steal from him. It doesn't mean that you do things to him. You cheat him and so forth and so on. No, that's not what we're talking about here. You cannot do that. But we're talking about a healthy division, meaning keeping your ideals. You go to the restaurant with your friends and they're eating the pork sandwiches. And you turn around and say, look, I'm not going to eat that. I'll eat the chicken here. You get the chicken, and we know the ruling about eating in the Western countries. You don't know what has happened with processes. So what you do, you Bismillah, you say over the food, and you're covered, and you eat your food, and you eat your chicken. So this is some of the things I'm talking about here, to break it down simply so that way our sisters and brothers can understand. Now, the hadith, one of the hadiths that our Prophet ﷺ talked about this issue. And here he talks about the people who go and live among the mushrikeen. Now, we're not talking about someone born in California, and they were born there and they became Muslim, or they were Muslim at birth and their parents are Muslim, and they live around the disbelievers and so forth and so on. The Prophet ﷺ was talking about that he is innocent, he said, of anyone who goes among the mushrikeen. That's a serious statement. This is a prophet, ﷺ, has said this. Meaning, again, I have to give examples what I see now, what's happening on YouTube and some other media things. We have Muslims who don't spend no time with other Muslims. They are with only disbelievers. They show love and admiration for disbelievers and have enmity towards believers. This is what our prophet is talking about here. In one of these, he's talking about that. And we have even some who have left America. Instead of seeking relationships with other Muslims, they seek relationships with others. These also known as hypocrites in the Sharia. They're known as hypocrites, and also in fiqh as hypocrites. They say they're Muslim, but they have nothing to do with Islam. They have not. They talk it, but they don't associate with anybody who's Muslim. They only keep friendships with non-Muslims. Be careful of these people. Don't take no knowledge from them, my dear brothers and sisters. Don't. Yeah, you may be entertained by the flash and everything they have, but don't take any knowledge from them, because they will take you away from the deen, especially our young brothers, our African-American brothers who are trying to break away from all the filth of America. And then they see one of our own. When we have a mother say, look, son, you're a Muslim now. You can't go date. You can't go hold hands with girls. You can't go to the hotel in a room with them and so forth and so on. You can't do this. Then our young brother who's 18, 19, 20 years old, he turns on YouTube and he sees one Muslim who's hugging women who are not his wife. And our young brother who's 19 goes back to his mom and his father and say, I don't understand this. You tell me, don't do this. But look, here's Yahya on YouTube holding hands with a woman. You see him. I see him also. He's holding, holding her. He's having dinner. He's having intimate conversations. He's walking down the street with a woman who's not his wife. You get my picture. The Prophet ﷺ says he has nothing to do with this type of person. That's right. And to make matters worse, he goes on further to say that the people who do this, and they have innovated, yes, because they have changed the wala'ah والبراء. They've changed it to reverse it, meaning having enmity towards the believers and having allegiance to the non-believers. And that means with women as well, because the rules, us Muslims. I have my wife. I cannot go to keep company with a woman other than my wife. Now, if my wife's with me, that's a different situation. We see a sister. We have that many times. We see a sister. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Zainab? No problem, because my wife's with me. But can I go pick her up? No. Can I go in a car alone with her? No. Can I go pick her up and take her to a restaurant to eat? No. Can I call her up on the phone without my wife's her permission and tell her, can you meet me at McDonald's for something to eat? No, I cannot do this. But we have Muslims doing it. And this is shameful, and we have to put an end to that. And especially for our young brothers who will look at this, perhaps in the future, they can have an understanding that they'll have an example now to arm themselves, because they'll see this on YouTube and they'll be scratching their head. And I know I was 19 years old. I know what the women mean. I understand that. I was 19 years old. I understand that. But I was a Muslim at that time as well. But I understand the hormonal changes and the desires. We understand that. But as Muslims, we're told not to do this. And I'm arming you, because we have Muslims who will take you from the religion, because you think that they're acting as Muslims when they're not. And they can say that they're Muslim. You may hear a word here and there about Islam, or they may say subhanallah or something like that, but then you see him holding a woman. Or you see him sitting down at a dinner table with this woman. Where's his wife? She's not there. So Prophet ﷺ said that subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive this man. He's innovated. He's innovated. Now, this hadith is authentic. Prophet said that those who innovate, who change the religion and are stubborn, they don't care. You can come to them and tell them. They say, look, I'm a Muslim, but I'm modern. I'm going to go and date. I'm going to go and do this. They made innovation. Subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive them. This is coming from our Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. You see how dangerous this is, my brothers and sisters? It's very dangerous, very dangerous. Now, as those who've been following my talks, in Surah 60, verse 8, Subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us we are kind, to disbelievers. That's right. We are kind to them, meaning you see how I act towards them. I'm courteous with everybody, but I am stern against those who fight us. I'm stern against those who innovate. Those who know me kind of now, they know I'm fiery against people who are against me or who speak against subhanahu wa ta'ala and our prophet. I'm stern against them. But those who don't fight me, I follow the verse with the subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah 68, where he said, you can be kind to those because they don't fight you. They don't drive you out of your home. I'd be kind to them. How you doing, sister? How you doing today? Salam, how you doing? There's nothing wrong with that. She's not fighting me. She's not trying to go after my religion. She's not driving me out of my home or my country. She's not talking against subhanahu wa ta'ala. She's not talking against our prophet. So you see the difference. You can still maintain, hey, how you doing? How you doing, Jahari? How you doing? How you doing, Stephanie? Or you can have a relationship that's cordial. Now, that doesn't mean I can go out with them. That's not what I mean. That doesn't mean I can go date them. I don't mean that way, but I mean you can greet them cordially and speak to them in such a way and so forth. And you can trade. You can go to stores, and trade with non-Muslims. No problem. Now, let's go to something. The Muslim who has abeyance upon this concept, the seventh condition of the Shahadatain, subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you immensely for it. Surah 469. And I'll read this quickly in Arabic. Excuse me. I don't, because we don't have Arabic. Excuse me. I'll read this in English. All who obey Allah and His Messenger are in the company of those whom is the grace of Allah. Interesting. Of the prophets who teach, the sincere lovers of truth, the witness who testify, the righteous who do good. Oh, what a beautiful fellowship. Allahu Akbar. This is coming from subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here he's talking about those who follow, again, the Quran and the Sunnah, but as well maintaining healthy relationships with the Muslims, and also these relationships of enmity with disbelievers. Meaning, yes, I speak to Jahari. Yes, I speak to Stephanie and other non-Muslims, or to Daryl or John or Bill. They don't fight me, but I still keep my distance, meaning I still maintain the order of my faith, meaning I can't go out with these women. See, this is what we're talking about here. And subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you follow this, He may grant you this here, this particular surah, that you're among these people. He says this is a beautiful fellowship. It is. So I'm giving you ammunition here for the Muslims and even for the non-Muslims who may be looking at this, is to see how the framework, how we work as Muslims. This is an important surah, and this particular it gives you something to think about, something to ask for, something to shoot for, to make your prayer and ask subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you among these people here, make you among this particular fellowship, keeping you strong in your religion. Because it is important that you maintain that, my dear brothers and sisters. Now, I talked about the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. There's some other hadiths too. Our Prophet, he was stern about this. He was stern about Muslims going among the disbelievers and then beginning to act like them, beginning to reverse the walaa والبراء, reversing it again with the enmity towards the Muslims and then the allegiance to the non-Muslims. And he was stern about this. He says he's innocent of those who do this. Those who aren't YouTuber doing this, I hope they come back to the fold, because if they listen to what I'm saying right now and they go and do their research, they'll see what I'm talking about. And when they pull up the seventh condition of the Shahadatain, if that doesn't scare them, I don't know what kind of Muslim they are. Because if they read that and they understood the seventh condition is wallah, والبراء, they would be scared to death. It would be scared to death to take you to the fire. And the prophet said he don't have nothing to do with you. So those on YouTube doing this stuff that we see today and tomorrow and the other days, we see them and he's laughing and giggling and joking and doing things outside of the religion. And then they're Muslims on the day of Monday. And then Tuesday, they go around with a girl that's not their wife. And then all of a sudden, they're not Muslim. They don't even pray that day. Wednesday come, they go back to the masjid. No, this is not it, my brothers and sisters. This is not the right Islam. It's the wrong Islam. This is an innovation. And the prophet said that subhanahu wa ta'ala won't accept the repentance for this person in certain circumstances. But that's another story altogether. But by the hadith, this is what he said, and I say what he said. Now, as we said, what is the wallah? What is this allegiance? Again, allegiance to subhanahu wa ta'ala and to our prophet and to the Muslim community, to your brother Muslim, to your sister Muslim. This is the allegiance that we're talking about here. Surah 4, again, 144 is another one to give you the proofs that subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he's talking. This here is the other part, baraha, okay? This is the second one, the enmity. Subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, take not for friends unbelievers rather than believers. Do you wish to offer Allah open proof against yourselves? Now, you see this. This is why we as Muslims must understand our religion. Here, he's making it very clear, the enmity, meaning that you maintain your religion. This is what he's talking about here. He's not talking about discrimination. He's not talking about being disrespectful towards disbelievers. He's not talking about cheating them or killing them. No, that's not what he's talking about here. He's talking about keeping a distinction between you and them. Again, what's the tafsir behind this? We go back to Surah 60 and verse 8 again. Subhanahu wa ta'ala said, those disbelievers who treat you kindly, you can reciprocate that. That's why you have to understand your religion and understand the Quran and understand the hadith to break it down and study and learn if you can. Learn from a Sheikh Islam and get knowledge so you can discern what subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you. So here, again, he's telling you, don't take these. Don't take the unbelievers rather than believers. Now, here's a condition here we're talking about. One of these individuals, you see him on YouTube or some other media circuits, and you see him, 99.9% of his relationships are not with Muslims. They're non-Muslims. This is what subhanahu wa ta'ala is also talking about here. He has taken these people as friends and protectors over those of believers. This is who he's talking about here. Don't do it, he says. There's other verses. Verse 5, 51, you heard me discuss this before. He says, don't take the Jews and Christians as friends and protectors because they are friends among themselves. Again, the enmity. Again, subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Prophet ﷺ is making a condition that you must maintain your Islam and maintain your ideals of Islam, because everybody is different from you. You're a human being. Yes, you have bodily functions like anyone else, and you have eyes and ears like anyone else. But what you believe is different because you have adopted Tawheed. Those they have not. So you have to be very careful that they don't take you from this Tawheed. And you have to maintain a healthy relationship with these who are your family or your friends who are disbelievers. You can still maintain a healthy relationship with them. Now, let's go to Surah 47, I think it is. 47. Subhanahu wa ta'ala again gives us, this is Surah excuse me, it's Surah 48. Boy, that's slipping here. This is verse 29. Okay, subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this again shows you what I was talking about, the enmity towards the others, not against your brothers, but against the others. Here's what subhanahu wa ta'ala says about this. He said, Muhammad, alayhi salatu salam, is the messenger of Allah, and those who are with him, listen to him, those who are with him are stern against unbelievers, but compassionate among each other. This is something. And he goes into other conditions here. I won't break that down. Salam alaikum, my dear sister Amina. You see what subhanahu wa ta'ala said. He gave an order to our prophet. And he said our prophet is stern against the disbelievers and he's compassionate with believers. This is wallah والبراء. You must follow this as a Muslim. Now, you've been following my classes. Remember, I gave you the 4 types of disbelievers. The 4 types of disbelievers. Remember, I told you the 3 of them, you cannot fight them. Remember, I was talking about that. The 4th one, you cannot have nothing to do with him. That means you can't have no friendships with him because he's fighting Muslims. Any person who talks against subhanahu wa ta'ala, you cannot maintain relationships with them. But we have Muslims on YouTube who are doing this. I know one case now, and I've talked to this person about that. I said, how can you, when I know this woman has been on YouTube, I mean, talking so vile against subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's off the charts. And then declaring by making a comment by saying, if there's a hell, please somebody call me to give me the phone number so I can go there. This is what this one woman said. She's a sister, African sister, who's on YouTube saying this. And we have a brother who's supposed to be a brother, Islam, who's all over her. And I asked him, I said, brother, how can you maintain relationship with her? She's not one of the 3 that our prophet has talked about and our scholars talk about. She's talked against subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't care. He didn't care. He ignored me. He said, I'm going to do what I want to do because he's a modern Muslim. So he want to go ahead and maintain a relationship with a woman who talks against subhanahu wa ta'ala and says, if there's hell, will somebody give me the phone number? And he maintains a relationship with this woman. And he's not even his wife. That's not her. That's not his wife. You see what I'm talking about, my dear brothers and sisters? Be wary of these people. Take no knowledge from them. Take no knowledge from them. If you don't understand something, you go to a student of knowledge or to a scholar and you ask them, is this behavior right? You see me doing something. Is this behavior, is Yahya doing right here? I don't understand this. Can you help me? Because you have to understand your deen, my brothers and sisters. This is something. This is bad news. Okay. Now, as I told you about the wallaha, which is the first part, subhanahu wa ta'ala he's stern about this, and there's many. I could go on and on. There's many inside the Quran. Little recess here. I see Amina's talking about preparing iftar for my brothers and sisters in Ramadan. That's an important meal because we're in Ramadan because we fast 12, 16 hours according to where you live. And she's talking about preparing some for her husband. That's good because the iftar is very important for us because we break the fast. And you know how it is. We don't have no food or water for 12, 15 hours. It's something. So iftar is important for the Muslims, and that is something. So kudos to my sister Amina for preparing a meal for her husband for iftar. Back to the issue at hand, the Allah is establishing again a brotherhood. with your brothers, okay? You have to, and with your sisters. You must establish this relationship, a healthy, good relationship with your brothers and sisters. You must. And your brother, hey, he can be white as snow or black as the night. Don't make differentials between them, my sisters and brothers. They are your brothers. They are more of your brothers than those who are of your blood. In Islam, that's right. So maintain relationships. I don't care if he's from Bosnia. I don't care if that sister is from the Bahamas or she's from Sierra Leone. You maintain healthy relationships with the Ummah. Now also, maintaining your allegiance to Tawheed, the oneness of God. You have to. That's part of your condition of your Shahadatain. Making that allegiance, keeping that allegiance strong to Tawheed, not moving back and forth like we see Muslims doing. One day you see this brother on YouTube, he's a Muslim. You see him dressed as a Muslim, talking as a Muslim. Then Tuesday, he's out with disbelievers doing something. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Monday through Friday, 24 hours a day, you maintaining the decorum of a Muslim. This is the true Muslim, not the hypocrite. 3, the allegiance of Wallah is, as I said, is to other Muslims. It supersedes nationality. It supersedes the flag that you give allegiance to. It supersedes race. It supersedes your community. Meaning, I'm African American, born in America, yes. But I don't have allegiance to those who are non-Muslims. But there's a man in France who's white. I have my allegiance and I have my care and my relationships with him because we're Muslims in faith. So that makes us a strong brotherhood. And our Prophet ﷺ said this. He said, Muslim aku Muslim. It means a Muslim is a brother to every Muslim. This is important. A Muslim is a brother to every Muslim, irrespective if this man is Chinese, or if this man is from the Congo, or if this man is from Ghana, or this brother is from Mobile, Alabama. If he's Muslim, he's your brother. If he's from South Africa, he's your brother. If she's a sister from China, she's your sister in the religion. Now, there's a distinction I want to make sure that we understand too. Somebody may say, well, yeah, I see you treat the non-Muslim sisters, women, and you call them sisters because they are sisters in humanity, are brothers in humanity, not sisters in faith, but sisters in humanity. And out of respect as a gentleman, I treat them with respect. I don't, talk to them disrespectfully. So I want you to understand that concept. You see how I do this. We have sisters in humanity. I see a sister, she falls down. I'm not going to ask her first, hey, are you a sister in Islam? I'm not going to ask her that. I'm going to go help her out. Or if somebody, if sisters have something she need directions, I'm not going to ask her first, hey, are you Muslim? I'm not going to ask her that. I'm going to say, yes, you looking for the mall? It's over this direction here. This is what I'm talking about. This is the way the proper Muslim acts. So remember, I call the sisters who are not Muslims, they're sisters in our humanity. You treat them kindly. They don't fight us. You treat them kindly. Then we have sisters in faith. But the sisters in faith take precedence over the sisters of humanity. I hope that makes sense to you, dear brothers and sisters. Again, now, making the obeisances to Subhanahu wa ta'ala and to our Prophet, this is important. Now, the traveling from the Muslims, we have to get back into another topic. The Muslim who's traveling from a Muslim country, the 57 Muslim countries, over to America, okay, or to Canada, or to Europe, or to France, or Spain, or Portugal, someplace, or even Russia, a non-Muslim state. The Grand Mufti, Rahimahullah, there he's dead now in the former in Saudi Arabia, gave a interesting fatwa, which was in line keeping with the Sunnah and the Sharia. He warned, especially the young Muslims, of traveling to America. Now, this is before he even died. He may warn them, and now you see what is happening in America. Remember something. Remember the UAE in the Middle East? They issued advisory too. Why? Because many from the Middle East, from the UAE, are dark-skinned. And because police have this tendency, the rogue policeman is seeking out brown and black-skinned melanated people to kill. They issued advisory about going to the United States. Now, how dreadful is that? How low has the United States? Usually the Americans issue advisories against third world countries, melanated countries. But now melanated countries are issuing advisories against them. I say alhamdulillah to that, because it's long overdue. They should be, because they've been killing 400 years. They've been killing African Americans in particular, and Indians, the Native Americans, for 400 years. 400 years. So this is important news. And we have to maintain that. And we must speak the truth as Muslims. We must speak the truth. And those who say, well, you know, yeah, United States, this and that. I'm not going to say that the United States is full of bad people. No, no, no. There's some beautiful people there. And there's people who will fight for you. And there's wicked people, black, white, red. I mean, melanated. You got wicked people all over the place in the United States. You got also good people of every color. So you must understand that as well. Okay. You, and under the Wallah والبراء, you have no allegiance to the hypocrite. Hear me right, my dear brothers and sisters. You have no allegiance to this hypocrite in the religion, and also to the disbeliever, the fourth one we call the Harbi or the Salibi. Okay, the Salibiyin, the Crusaders, or the people who fight Muslims. You don't need to have any allegiance to them whatsoever, and it's against the Sharia. If you follow the fatwa of the Mufti of Saudi Arabia that he gave the fatwa that's supposed to affect all of the Muslims, and it was a pretty sound fatwa when you read it. And he talks about, especially the United States in particular, about the wickedness that's going on there. And if you travel there, you most likely may lose your faith. And it's true. Many leave from 57 states of Muslims. You saw them as strong Muslims in Malaysia and Indonesia and in Morocco or in Egypt. Then they get to California, then you get to Texas. You see them 5 years later, they're not strong anymore. Some of them smoke, some are drinking, some are out fornicating, some got many girlfriends. Some are not even practicing the faith anymore. This is what the Grand Mufti was talking about, Kareem Allah, what he was talking about, this type of issue. You owe no allegiance to the hypocrite. We call it munafiq in Arabic. You have no allegiance to him. The hypocrite, you have none. Matter of fact, once I know or munafiqeen, I don't even speak to them. And when they do try to speak to me, I talk to them in such a way, but that's another story. But the hypocrites, you don't have to deal with that. And any Muslim under this particular concept goes to assist this disbeliever, the one who's fighting the Muslims. He's more than a hypocrite. He's an apostate. He's outside of religion. You don't show him any respect. I don't care if he comes to you and says, look, you know, these guys are paying for my car. I got a new car because I go to assist these people here, or I'm going to go do this here, and I get paid very well. That money has nothing in it, and you're a disbeliever now because you went to go to assist the disbelievers against the Muslims. You offer no allegiance to them. Be careful of that. And last on that topic, you Muslims who do travel to United States, and then you become a citizen of this country, you cannot make a pledge of allegiance to the flag of America. It's red for a reason. That red means blood. That blood has been spilled. They spilled 12 million Indians. They killed upwards between 10 million of Africans. That flag that you make an allegiance to is red and white for a reason. That red means blood because of what he has spilled to get this nation. You don't make pledge to it. And you got to remember something. You don't make pledge to the government of America because the government does not use the laws of Moses, alayhi salatu wasalam. No. Do they use the laws of Jesus, alayhi salatu wasalam? No. Do they use Abraham's laws? No. Alayhi salatu wasalam. How about Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu wasalam? They do not use any of their laws. They use their own laws that come from their heart and their desires. That's why it's so much discrimination. And as you heard me say last week, the person who uses discrimination is under the influence of the devil. Remember that. Now I give it some other as proofs. There's Surah Baqarah, which is the second surah, and I'll just read some. And it's getting late, and I'm going to close up here pretty soon. This is a quick lesson here to explain, because I'm concerned, my brothers and sisters, to be honest with you. I see Muslims on YouTube, they're taking other Muslims away from the deen, and it burns me up. And I have to talk against them. And as I told one of these guys, I said, if you want to dispute me, you can dispute me. If you want to come even on my show to dispute me, you bring me the proof from the Quran that explains that what you're doing is correct. I want to see them do this. Or they can write to me and give me the proofs from the Quran and the Sunnah that shows that you can go and hug these women, or you can date these women, or you can maintain relationships with people who are against the Muslims. And speaking of that, let's take something further on this. I want you to understand how justice works in Islam. Just as we talking about the hypocrite like this, and we also talk about the Salibi, the Harbi, the one who fights the Muslims. The Muslims, you know, who are supposed to be mujahideen, and they're killing innocent people in the name of Allah. You don't owe them any allegiance either. I want you to understand that. You know who I'm talking about. The Mujahideen groups are all over the place now in Africa and the Middle East and Afghanistan and places like this, who kill innocent people knowingly. Now, we're not talking about fighting and the innocent people go there to help the Salibiyin. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about people walking down the street in Afghanistan or in Iraq or in Syria or Lebanon or Yemen or in Fez, Morocco, or any place like this, and then they set off a bomb that kills women and children. Those people also, you do not maintain no allegiance to them. I want that understood here. Those are three people, you owe them nothing. You don't even owe them salam. Again, the Harbi, the Salibiyin, you don't owe them no allegiance. You don't even give them salam. You have no relationship with them. The hypocrite, the same. He's in our religion. I don't care. He's a hypocrite. You stay away from him. The third one is the Muslim who is killing unjustly. And we have them all over the place. Yes, if they go fight the army, we're not talking about that. And they have justifications of why they want to bring the country to the Sharia. That's one thing. But when they go down and there's a McDonald's there and they bomb innocent people and they kill precious little children, they didn't harm anyone. So why did they do that? And they took out people, and an old man who's enjoying himself. He's retired now, and they killed him. These are the people I'm talking about. You maintain no allegiance. I want you guys to understand that. Surah 2 at 21 is another one that I like. Surah 2:21, Subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you here something very interesting, and I'll be closing. He says here in Surah 2, verse 2:21, he says, do not marry unbelieving women, okay, until they believe. A slave woman who believes is better than an unbelieving woman, even though she allures you. I stop here. How many brothers in the United States have been lured by non-Muslim women? They see their beauty, their grace, they see their ornaments, the way they dress and they walk, and they marry them. They shouldn't have married them. And they didn't even believe. They didn't even believe at the time they married. This is what Subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about here. So you read this verse, research it very well. Now, there's conditions that you can marry, of course, in Surah Nur, which is Surah 24, where Subhanahu wa ta'ala gives conditions where you can marry certain types of disbelieving women. But that's another story. He's not talking about those particular ones there. Here, he's talking about the ones who maintain disbelief when you met them, and they still maintain disbelief when you marry them. And they lure you. Now, in America, we know the sisters there of humanity. There's beautiful ones, all shapes and colors, and they can lure anybody. This is what we're talking about here. Subhanahu wa ta'ala says, lower your gauge. You don't lower it down. Put your head down when these particular sisters walk past you. And don't marry them. Don't seek them out, because they will destroy you. And how many brothers we know have married these girls and have lost everything in divorce? They take them to divorce court, and of course the judge sees a Muslim in front of him, he destroys them. Too many brothers married to non-believing women. They disbelieve when they married, and they still maintain disbelief in the marriage. And then when the brother think, because he's trapped up in her beauty and her ornaments, and then when she goes to tell him, look, I see my friends here, I'm going out. And you say, look, you can't leave the house. You need to give our friends. She said, look, I'm not a Muslim. She tells you in your face, I'm not a Muslim. And she walks out. And then if you try to stop her, she can get on the phone and call 911. And you know what happens then. The two-bar cop rolls up on you. And we know what he do. And she turns around and says, you see him? This what he said. And they say, oh, yeah, he's got a gun. Boop, 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 boop. And then come back later. Oh, you know what? We thought Yahya had a gun. Oh, there was an ice cream in his hand. So my brothers and sisters, please be careful. Now, he says here, nor marry young girls to unbelievers until they believe. Our sisters, our daughters, don't marry them to unbelievers. You cannot. Don't do that. Even if this man is a disbeliever, you cannot take your daughter and marry with him, even though he can provide very well. Cannot. It's forbidden. And he says, a man slave who believes is better than the unbeliever. Even if this guy is a low trash man and he believes, he's better than an unbeliever with a lot of money in the faith, because he can protect her faith. The unbeliever cannot. He cannot protect the faith. So anyway, this is some of the things Subhanahu wa ta'ala said. And I'll read one more, 286 in the same surah, which is 2, and it's 286. 286. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's talking about here. He says in the last verse of Baqarah, this is very interesting at the end. There's a prayer that's issued out. And here he gives out this prayer about blotting out our sins. And he says, have mercy on us. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, please have mercy on us. Then he says, you are our protector. Then he says, help us against those who stand against faith. Interesting. Because this is written 1400 years ago. He knew that the disbelievers who will fight you and take you from your faith, he's asking to have protection from them. My dear brothers and sisters, this is important to know. And, there's a lot of different proofs here in the Quran, like Surah 9. I gave you some here. We're running out of time. I don't want to take more of your time. I can go into a lot of different verses here. But I wrote them in the chat. And if anybody wants to do more research, please, I can help you and assist you and give you those references and guides. So in a nutshell, my brothers and sisters, remember what I was saying here in this recap. The wala walbara'a, each Muslim is required that he have this, meaning it's obligatory to you that you must maintain this. You must maintain this. Then the allegiance is for subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, his ummah, and the Muslimin, meaning the Muslim, aku Muslim. Now, the second part, barah, is the enmity towards those who are not Muslims, meaning you make a declaration. You're making a declaration that stands and says, I'm Muslim. I believe in Tawheed, oneness of God. I maintain the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. And that I have a bridge, a campfire between me and those who don't believe. Then we go by what subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the Prophet, the orders, that he maintains the wholesomeness, the forgiveness, the charity towards believers, but he's stern against the disbelievers. So this is in a nutshell, my dear brothers and sisters, what we're talking about today. Wallah walbara'a, which is the seventh condition of the Shahadatain. And I hope that you got something out of this. And again, I want everybody to understand the non-Muslims. Here we're not talking about enmity, meaning to hurt you, to fight you, to discriminate against you, to steal from you, to mislead you, to harm you, to slander you or libel you. No, we cannot as Muslims do that. That's not what we're talking about here. You got to remember something. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is made a condition in the Quran where he talks about his enmity towards the disbelievers who fight the Muslims, mainly. Now, the verse of Tawheed, again, a clause where Subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear about that he made the distinction and so forth. And the Prophet ﷺ has made his distinction about all disbelievers. But in general terms, Subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with the disbelievers who fight the Muslims in the past and in those who fight now. So I want that understood, my brothers and sisters that are not Muslims, that here we're not talking about enmity towards you as we're supposed to mistreat you. No. And as I told you, the question was raised. Yahya, we have sisters here who are not Muslims. And I call them sisters, yes, because they're sisters of humanity. And I'm a gentleman. And men are supposed to treat women regardless, irrespective of what religion they are, as sisters and to be kind towards them. I'm not talking about those who mistreat you. I'm not talking about those who like this one African sister who's on YouTube talking crazy, blasphemous. We're not talking about her. No, I won't give her no salam. But we're talking about like our sisters here. We got Jahari. We have Sister Stephanie. We got Sister Abina. We're talking about people like this. You can maintain your cordial relations by dressing them respectfully. Nothing wrong with that. But our sisters in the religion take precedence, as you know, in our religion over even those sisters of humanity. So that was it in a nutshell, my dear brothers and sisters. So I want to thank you guys for showing up today, those who in the chat and those who viewed this talk today. And I'm hoping that you got something out of this because, as I said before, I'm here not about pomp and pageantry. I'm not into that. I'm here to give you knowledge, like my brother's talking about here, to help you as a Muslim, because you must have knowledge, and also help the non-Muslims too to understand the religion, because you're not going to get that on the others. You're going to be confused. You see some other programs here, you scratching your head. Here, I'm making it clear to you so that you can understand where the Muslims are thinking. I'm giving you the knowledge, and most important, I'm giving you the proofs. And as I told you many times, you go on a program and they're talking wildly about all kinds of things. You write in there, says, what is your proof? Where are you getting your proof from? And demand that, because you don't want to be misled. You are required to do that as a Muslim. You see me say something, you can say, hey, Yahya, give me this proof here. I must furnish it to you. This is our religion. This is what we're supposed to do. So my dear brothers and sisters, thank you for showing up today. And as I always say, I always pray the Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, especially for our brothers and sisters in America. I don't know what to say anymore. I just lost almost the word to say what's happening there in the United States. And I pray Subhanahu wa Ta'ala protects all our brothers and sisters in humanity and in faith from the rogue Tubob in the government who's legislating against you, taking your vote away from you, and the police who are just relentless and killing us. I mean, killing us without right. And I hope that he protects us from that. And I'm going to address my brothers who are in the Arab world, because many of them cannot speak English very well. They may not understand. I'm going to address them one of these days in Arabic to explain to them what's happening, because they see things on TV. They see black people, the black folks rioting, upset, screaming. They don't quite understand because they don't understand the English language. And a lot of the Arab stations, Arabic speaking stations, don't get deep into the problem. They only show something and they don't talk. But I'm going to address this issue, inshallah, in Arabic. So if you see something one of these days pop up, show, it'll be quickly, but I'm going to address my brothers who live in the Arab world, because they need to know what's happening to their Muslim brothers in America, and to also to the African American and the Africans in America, because they should be kept apprised of what's happening so they don't discriminate against us, because the Tubob goes to them and tells them a lot of lies. And I know that for a fact, because I'm here in Morocco. I know what this Tubob has said against me. And they talk against the African American because they don't want African Americans here in Morocco or in any other Muslim state. And they're good at lying on the brothers and the sisters, the African Americans and Africans. They're good. The black folks, they're good at that. They don't want us here, so they go lie against you. So that's why I'm going to talk, so my brothers and sisters, inshallah, either in Arabic, so they can understand what's happening to our people there in the United States. So my dear brothers and sisters, please be safe there in the United States, okay? Please, when you go out, you look right and left. And you get in your car, please be careful. And our young brothers and sisters who may be looking, my advice to you as an elder, you get in that car, I advise, if you can, please take moms and pops with you, or take pops with you, even better yet. Because the Tubob, he may be more reluctant to shoot you dead if he sees a father inside the car there, because they don't want witnesses. It's almost to that point. But if you do drive alone and you're stopped, don't argue with that Tubob. You understand? My young brothers and sisters, don't argue with them. If he tells you to stop the car, you stop it. He tell you to reach slowly to get your license, you do what he tell you. Yes, sir. Please, I don't have no weapons. They may ask you. You say, I have no weapons in here. I have a soda here. I have McDonald's here. You explain that respectfully. And you give him a license. If he tells you to step out, step out. Even though we know that they're killing you, even where you stand, but you stand more of a chance of not being shot if you're more submissive. And I hate to use that word, but you have to now, because they're killing us. And you are our future generations. So please, my young brothers and sisters, Be cognizant of that. You are our future. And from your loins, you're going to produce offspring. But you cannot produce that if you're shot dead. So don't argue with that Tubob, that policeman on the street. And I will say this in the closing. You do have a right to protect yourself, my brothers and sisters. But our young brothers and sisters, if the parents out there, I advise that you do in my generation, you let pops come with you. I know you don't like that. I understand that. I was a teenager, but we're at the point now. You should tell pops to come with you, or moms. Say, hey, mom, can you come with me? I want to go to McDonald's here. I'm going to meet a couple of friends, and let her take you there. You eat, let her come pick you up. My parents did that in my era. They did that, and we should do that now. We should institute that again to protect this young generation, because they're gunning for us. The rates of what they're killing our young folks is something. We got to do something, my dear brothers and sisters. So, my dear brothers and sisters, I leave you with peace and prosperity. And thank you for showing up, my dear brother Isaac and my dear sister Amina. Mystic, thank you very much for showing up, and those in that who viewed us today. I appreciate you very much. I leave you with the words of Jinnah. Salamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi barakatuh.